What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. It is a new month, and that means a new PSA special. This hasn't even been announced on their social yet, and if you go to the services page, it is not yet listed. But if you go to create a submission, it is here. It is called the 90s Plus Sports Special, $199 max declared value, and then $15 per card. So this is replacing the special that had been kind of going on for about a month and a half. That was $16, but it was only 2022 and 2023 product. So this is going to open the gates a lot wider. I know when they did that last special, I was like, oh, no problem. I got plenty of stuff to send. And I eventually got there, but I didn't realize how much stuff I had from, it really wasn't a ton, but like how many cards fell into the 2020, 2021 category that I was like, oh, wait, I can't send these with this submission. So I believe we don't know the details on this yet because it hasn't formally been posted. We know the pricing. I'm assuming it's anything 1990 and newer. We know the declared value. I am assuming this is going to be a 60 to 65 day turnaround time. So check that once they actually get the marketing page up. That's what their other specials have been. My $16 special was a 65-day turnaround time advertised. That order, for just kind of putting it out there because I always ask you guys and girls, I'll give you my little update. That was checked in on May 12th and is in grading. Last I looked. I haven't checked today. I am bad. I normally check about 10 or 15 times a day. I have not looked yet today, but that one is sitting in grading. It's been in grading for probably close to 2 weeks now. It went to grading fairly quickly, but it's just been sitting there. So 90s and newer, we are going to, I'll save some of these thoughts for tomorrow's video. Later today, we'll be getting gem rate data. I got a sneak peek at it already. So we'll be doing a video on that tomorrow, but long story short, PSA's numbers did dip slightly this past month. They still did over 1 million cards, but it is down a little bit. And I don't think the vibes that I got from around the hobby, for lack of a better, was that this last special was just kind of fine. It was whatever. People sent stuff in, obviously, but I don't know that it got as much traction as they kind of thought that it was going to get. Once again, I don't have inside information on that or anything. It just seems like the vibe is that this hasn't gone as well as maybe everyone thought that it was going to. I think that restriction of 2022 and 2023 only really bottleneck them. I know I've heard that like vintage stuff is still pretty backed up. And I've heard people say that like autograph stuff is pretty backed up. So those seem to be running pretty slow. Ultra modern, just normal bulk orders, that style of stuff seems to be running pretty quick. I'll be interested to see how you guys haven't seen the video yet. It'll be coming up shortly. But I sent a single card in at regular service, which is the $75 level. That's a 10 business day turnaround time. So I'll be interested to see how quickly that one moves through the system compared to some of this other stuff. So this should get cards in the door. I don't know that they've gone back to the 90s for a while for something like this. I'm already thinking like I have some, a couple Manny Ramirez raw refractors and autos that I wouldn't mind sending in to get graded by them just to get slabbed up potentially. But I think we are beginning to see, I don't want to say the cracks in the ship or anything crazy like that, but their need to get cards in the door. We talked about it. They built the Death Star. The Death Star is up. It is running. It is fully operational. But you got to feed the beast. The Death Star hungers for planets. You can't just let it sit idly by and just float through space. That's not what it was designed to do. It wants to destroy. And in this case, they want to grade cards. So they've built all this infrastructure and they need cards in the door to turn them around and get them back out the other side. So aggressive pricing is the way to do it. Now, I'm sure some people below in the comments have probably already typed. I guarantee this comment's down there somewhere, depending on when you're listening to this video. $15 is still high. I am waiting for X number to submit. Cool. Hey, do your thing. Especially if it's stuff that you're not buying to sell, get it back whenever you want. This will probably be, from a bulk perspective or a value special, whatever perspective, and this might even be cutting it close depending on how long you wait. You're running out a window to get cards off to get graded and get them back in time for the national, if that's your thing. But you could see that we're starting to see that need for cards. We'll probably see how this special goes, and I wonder if I don't, because it's not up yet. I don't know how long this is going to run for. I wonder if this leads us up into the national. If this runs through June and maybe even part of July, or if it just stops at July and then July, maybe they reset with a national special or something like that. I have a feeling they might get a little aggressive around the national. Will probably depend on how the next couple months go, and they'll know depending on how many cards they're getting in with this. The other interesting news that was floating around from Sports Collectors Daily was that PSA had a couple layoffs. Now, it was 11 employees. They're a massive company. I don't think this is like a PWCC situation where they were laying off, 50% of the workforce or something crazy like that. I believe it was mostly marketing / customer relations people. Don't 100% quote me on that. Double check the Sports Collectors Daily article. So I don't want to read like too much into everything, but you could easily get to, oh my gosh, if you want the clickbait, PSA lays off employees and grading numbers drop by 15% or whatever it's going to be for this upcoming month. And then, they come out with this new pricing special to be a little bit more aggressive about getting cards in the door. You could take that a certain way if you want to. It's probably a little bit of where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not worried about Collectors Universe financially at all. But I do think that they need to just get slightly more aggressive with pricing. And we continue to see that as time goes on. These specials to some degree or another get slightly better as things go. I'm sure people will complain about the $200 declared value. It just kind of is what it is. You could be a little cute with that. Even on this one, if you send something that's just a little bit higher, your worst case is you're going to get upcharged to $25. So if it's borderline, I would just send it at 15 and let them upcharge you. That's generally how I tend to roll on stuff like that. I was already looking at some cards that I was potentially going to send in for this. So the key thing is does this move the needle for you? Do you have stuff that you're immediately like, yep, got to get this boxed up and out the door. I want to get this stuff off to them. Oh, this is perfect. I have been waiting for this. Like I said, I know a lot of people complained about the restrictions on the last grading special. So they have taken the handcuffs off. And like I said earlier, the modern stuff, they seem to be blazing through it. So we'll take a little bit more into that, like I said, on tomorrow's video, once we have the full gem rate numbers out. So from a cost perspective, you're looking at, assuming lower end stuff, $15 with PSA. SGC, if you're sending through a group submitter, I think you can get that down to around $17 or $18. Beckett, I think, is sitting in the low 20s, and CSG is sitting at like, I don't know, $12 or $13, I think, depending on if you're a member or not. And then obviously you could use group submitters for that. I'm just going off the top of my head with these numbers. So PSA continues to be, at least on a special side of things, I don't want to say the cheapest, because you could technically get cheaper grading out there, but extremely competitive, let's just say. And like I said, we'll kind of dig more into the global impact of how the last month has gone in grading and the gem rate numbers tomorrow. But it was interesting getting the pricing special and getting a sneak peek at the gem rate numbers together. Kind of tells you where things are heading. So if the longer you wait, the cheaper grading is probably going to get. It's just a matter of what is your end goal. If it's just for PC and you don't care, wait another month if this doesn't meet your needs. But $15 at, I don't know what this turnaround time will be, probably a month or two, for the extra value that PSA adds. If you're not in a hurry to sell it, probably not a bad option. If you need it back as fast as humanly possible while paying the least amount of money to flip it or do whatever with it, SGC is probably still your play. I continue to state, from a Beckett standpoint, I don't know what cards make sense right there right now when you don't know what the grading scale is going to be. That's the biggest problem, is that they let that cat out of the bag and now everyone's kind of left in limbo. So do you really want to send a card off there if it might be a BGS 9.5 if they stick with their old plans, mint, gem mint thing, or Gem Mint 10, or we don't really know because we don't know what they're doing yet. They haven't said anything. So there's some limbo there. And then, CSG/CGC side of things, the resale value is not there on the sports card side. It does a lot better in Marvel and Pokemon, but best slabs hands down, not even close. I will continue to preach that as long as they stick with them. So more on gem rate with the gem rate data tomorrow. We'll do a little bit more of a global look at the current state of grading, but that is your PSA special. $15, 90s and newer, $200 declared value. Not 100% sure on turnaround times and if there's any other weird little details because we don't have the full info yet. But this is up. You could technically submit for this right now. That's all I got for you, boys and girls. We will catch you tomorrow with gem rate data. Peace.